Hi there, it's Dr. Saira, and I am back for Ask Dr. Saira, which is our weekly video series where you get to ask me your questions about personal development, spirituality, relationships, general psychology, and I answer them. And so this week's question comes from Linda. Linda asks, how do you tell another adult that you think their child needs mental health support? How do you tell another adult that you think their child needs mental health support? I mean, how do you tell another adult anything that might be confrontational, right? That's the question, and especially when it comes to other people's children, because, one of the videos that we've done is around parenting, and people get very, what's the word? Protective about their kids, obviously, and they also often get protective about their parenting style, even though a lot of people don't actually think through their parenting style. They just do whatever and hope for the best. So if you're seeing that a child needs mental health support and you're another adult, so now I'm guessing you're not like a teacher, because for teachers, for therapists, there's kind of these protocols that we have to go through when we have to let an adult know that their child needs support. But if you're just a friend or family member, then how do you actually tell this person that, like, hey, I think, maybe they could use some help? Well, I think part of that is about your relationship with that adult, right? So in general, do you have kind of an open relationship where you can have those conversations? Maybe, maybe not. One of the things that might be helpful is for you to do a little bit of research on your own and then just give some resources. And say, I was thinking about fill in child's name here, and how you were telling me about this challenge, and I was looking online and I found this, and maybe it might be helpful. Now, if you're a mental health professional and you see that that a child needs mental health support, again, that's a different story. There's different process and protocols for that. But if you're just a regular person, what do? I think the way that you offer that support or advice has to be I always say, like, make them think it's their idea, right? Like, it has to be in a way that's not like, I know what's best for your child. But sometimes you do. Sometimes people are just not good parents, or maybe not implementing appropriate parenting interventions. Okay, we'll put it like that. Maybe they're good parents. They're doing I believe, and the parents I've met, every parent thinks what they're doing is helping their child. It might not be helping their child, but they are doing it because they generally care about their child. And so that's one way, is to provide resources and kind of have those conversations and let the parent know what you're learning about whatever it is that you think might be going on with the kid. Another thing you can do is actually be a safe adult for that child. So finding ways to connect with them and interact with them and let them know that you're a safe space to land, right? So when I hear mental health supports for children, things come to mind like maybe ADHD or anxiety or just like behavioral things that are going on. Those are usually the top three. I don't know about depression. Maybe for some kids, depression does show up differently in children than adults. But one of the telltale signs of something that's going on with a child, there's two that are great to watch for. One is nightmares, and the other is tummy aches. Okay, nightmares and tummy aches, and as kids get a little older, headaches. Because a lot of children, their symptoms are different. Tummy aches, often that's an anxiety issue, and the child can't differentiate that feeling from just, like, they don't know how to explain it, so they call it a tummy ache. And so if a child's like, I have a tummy ache, I can't go to school, they might actually be having physical pain in their body because of the anxiety that they have to go to school that day for whatever particular reason. So part of it is trusting your own intuition that, okay, something's going on. If the parent is not really open to hearing about it, then to become that soft landing place for the child. And if the child does confide in you about something, then communicating that to the parent. One of the things I want to talk about is keeping secrets, because sometimes when you're, say, an aunt or another family member, uncle, a child might confide something in you that you think the parents need to know. And so one of the things that I do with younger people that I'm working with is, and again, I'm speaking as a mental health professional, but I think about even, my nieces and nephews are really little, but when they grow, one of the things that I would tell them is, I'm here for you, and I hope you can talk to me about anything. And if you tell me something that I think is like a really big deal and is going to like put you in a tricky spot, then I'll probably include your parents, because we want to make sure that you have as much support as you need. Something to that effect, right? Because if the child tells you like they're pregnant or whatever, like you're not, I don't know, I don't feel like it's ethical to keep information from parents if those parents are actually supportive and caring. Now, when parents are abusive, when parents are violent, like or addicted, that's a different story, right? But the parents that are generally doing the best they can, like I think of myself, I would want to know if my kid was going through something really difficult and there was things that I could do to help, including taking them to a mental health professional. My son has been to a therapist when he was having a hard time. There's like this period of time where he was just like breaking down and crying in class. He was about in grade 3, and we couldn't figure out like what is going on here. And so we kind of just let it be. And then it was coming up in his religious classes as well. Like the teacher's like, is he okay? Because he keeps crying. And so we had him see an art therapist, a play therapist. And within, 4 or 5 sessions, he was okay. And what I learned in those sessions was the reason that he was so wound up was because I was actually in a depressive phase. I have depression, and sometimes there's these, episodes. And I was in an episode, and I hadn't communicated any of that to my kids at that time. And he could feel it, and he knew something was wrong. And so, and of course, because he's a child, he's going to think it's his fault. And so he had all these stories about why I was feeling the way I was, why I couldn't get out of bed, or why I couldn't, do all the things I used to do. And he had internalized that. And so, through his play, he communicated that to the therapist, and then the therapist talked to me. And so we had to really understand as a family that like the kids need to know, just like they would know if I had a broken leg, they need to know that I'm going through a depressive episode and I'm on this medicine and I'm working with these doctors and it's going to be okay. And as soon as we had those conversations, like all of those symptoms kind of went away. So for me, that was a growth moment, because I realized that like your kids are paying attention, and other people's kids are also paying attention to you. And if they're not finding what they need with their parents, you can be a landing spot. If those parents are open to your suggestions, well, then you can, handhold a little bit, maybe partner a little bit, and figure it out together. You don't maybe have all the answers. It sounds like from your question that you don't have all the answers, that you just have a suspicion, and you want to let that person know so that they can help their kid. And I think that's really admirable and honorable, and I would encourage you to continue in the ways that you can, try to have that conversation. So those are my thoughts on that question. Thank you. That was a very tricky question, because it's around social relationships and how to delicately manage that. Not wanting to interfere, but still knowing that you need to get involved. That's it for this week. I'm Dr. Saira. It's your life, and only you can live it.